If you give me some of your precious time, I promise you, I will change your life. Because right now, my entire life has completely changed. And what has caused it to change is something truly wonderful. I have tried to present a lot of this information on this channel for a very long time, but there was a problem because I was a hypocrite of sorts. A very well-intentioned hypocrite, but a lazy one. See, I kept trying to spread the gospel when I really didn't believe it myself. Because for as much as I believed, I equally doubted. And I think most of us can relate to that sentiment. Therefore, the information that I am going to present to you that will irrevocably change your life involves the Easter egg and, of course, the forbidden apple. Once we've examined these things, my lofty promises will definitely hold weight. See, why the apple of Eden is the forbidden apple is because it is a metaphorical, imagined construct. It's not so much about the literal apple of Eden, but what the apple of Eden actually represents, which is a tree of knowledge. Why it is an apple and a tree is because simply it is the tree of life. See, scientists have explained to us that the apple tree was formed in oceans through fungus and bacteria and all kinds of evolution type things like that. And these same people have again also pointed out evolution in human beings, which is the Easter egg. Why an egg? Because that is where life comes from. And see, once you start thinking about the Easter egg and the forbidden apple, again, it sounds a little hokey here, but I promise you it will make sense. We have been told by these scientists, who will swear up and down that they have factual evidence to prove that over thousands of years, seeds were formed in the ocean, again by bacteria and fungus, which then somehow made their way to shore and planted and became a tree, which then formed an apple, which contained a seed. Wow, that's powerful stuff when you really think about it. It's a naturally reoccurring phenomena that provides both nature and a nutritional food and life force source for human beings, aka life, humanity, and that comes from the egg. And the Easter egg, I like to think of it simply like this, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Now, again, much like humans, scientists have tried to explain that through courses of evolution, things started out basically as these small microorganisms and eventually grew to be very advanced organisms over courses of time and, all of these different phenomena. Scientists have factual evidence of these things. And yet, it is very similar, I think, when you look at the science. to spirituality and religion, because basically it's just one happened faster than the other. If you look at the scientific explanation, it's, basically stating that instead of things being created in 7 days, that it took a lot fucking longer than that. But essentially, what is the reason for these things to be? If scientists actually want to believe that there isn't fate, destiny, or some type of divine force in the universe, and a creating type of Star Wars-esque force, that just exists all around us, they want to believe that things are just illogical chaos, that things just happen. Well, that cannot be, because things evolved for a reason at the same time. And what I find so fascinating about science is that science essentially can confirm all of the phenomena that is related to religion and spirituality and the supernatural and the paranormal. And yet, what it can't do is prove which label is correct or which story is the proper version. And at the end of the day, none of those things really matter. Because I'm not interested if you can tell me which religion is the correct religion. That seems unimportant. What is important is that all of these things that we discuss, that we create stories about, they're real. Not only are they real, they are at the center of everything. And there's proof of these things all around us, but the reason why we can't see the proof is because we're all too busy arguing over labels and supposed details. But details are just another example of labels. It's just a way to try and organize and define things. But the problem is that we're trying to understand life and everything that is around us by defining it, instead of understanding life and what is around us and allowing that to form our definition. Now, right now, I've smoked a lot of weed. And you can watch my videos, and I'll let you know that I'm just recording this off the top of my head, essentially ad-libbing. I haven't written anything down, but this is me kind of putting all of the lessons I've learned together. Not necessarily on my public speaking or my levels of confidence, but, this stuff is there, and it's definitely growing alongside me. Kind of just talking out into the ether there, but why that is important is because if I've struck any kind of chords with you, if any of this potentially random or incoherent ramblings actually make sense to you, then the question that I would like to pose is, why are you hearing things like this from me, from someone who is struggling to put it together, and someone who actually has some really interesting information? And if I just believed in myself a little more, I could probably look at this and go, wow, I really am looking at things in a way that very few people seem to be capable of even viewing things in this way. And that's not to try to put people down. I would love for people to be able to see the world the way that I see it, and especially if they would be more intelligent, stronger than I. But regardless of that, it would seem to me that if what I'm saying is true and holds the weight that I believe it does, then that is something incredible. Because for whatever reason, I'm the one here who is presenting that knowledge, and of course, other people have also presented this knowledge. Maybe not in this way, but I'm definitely not the only one. But I think what makes me feel like I'm the only one, and also what makes a lot of us who experience these things or learn these things, the fact that the mainstream pop culture consensus consciousness is not discussing these things is just mind-blowing. And yet, that is exactly why it seems not only fishy, but impossible. I mean, how is it that there are people who, at the very least, believe portions of what I believe? Maybe they don't believe the whole enchilada. Maybe they're not able to put it into practice. I'm not sure. What I am sure of is that progress for all of us has been halted. And I don't care about being the big cheese, so to speak. What I care about, simply, is progress, is moving us all forward to a place where none of us have to struggle or suffer needlessly. I think it's wonderful to push yourself and to set goals and to find something you believe in and to work towards that. But that's not what most of our struggle is. Most of our struggle is just so needless and pointless because it's simply us trying to not only justify our existence, but to fight for our existence. And that just shouldn't be. Society is so screwed up, and it's not your or I's fault. The people who are in charge of society have done a very piss poor job of creating a functional, profitable society that will grow and evolve. And especially when we understand that things like the electric car and certain technologies were held back from us, it definitely seems that there are people who are hell-bent on holding back progress, and that's no bueno for you or I. I find it just simply impossible to believe that if the world just is things happening because they just happen for no fucking reason, then certainly there would have to be a large amount of people who believe the type of things that I'm talking about right now. And yet there just isn't that large group of people who believes it. And yet, I mean, all of these things should basically just kind of, be equal if things are just happening, It certainly shouldn't be the case that certain things are being held back and others are being encouraged, but one simply just has to take a calm look around and you can understand that is exactly what's going on. And that sounds crazy, but again, there's proof all around us, just like there's scientific proof about, eggs and life. And, it's just, if we looked at those things more often, just like the fact if we thought about, we're on a planet that's just spinning around, floating, and yet it's that rotations of the planet that causes the waves in the ocean, and yet we're all walking on solid ground. None of us can just float. People have acted like they understand it, but if they actually understood any of this, I think we would have seen a lot more progress. But maybe people do actually understand these things at a top level, but maybe they're keeping it from us. Maybe they are making these things, which actually are pretty simple, it's just, hey, if a seed or an egg evolved over time, well, that's proof that things happen for a reason, that there's some kind of Divinity is really the only word that seems to fit in the simplest terms, so that we can try to understand what the fuckery is going on. At the end of the day, if you're still listening and you understand what I'm getting at, then you'll understand when I tell you that I believe that I am the reincarnation of Christ, that it actually might hold some weight. Because I'm sitting here, I don't want to be crowned king. I want to protect, I want to take care of people, I want to help people. But personally, I also don't believe that it has to be me. But I just keep looking around and I'm like, what the why isn't somebody, better than me, who has the same knowledge, doing something with it? It does not make sense. It seems to me that most people who, I guess, perhaps gain this knowledge or whatever, that they're not really concerned with doing good so much as just gaining power. Because knowledge is power and it's half the battle and all that. My only concern about, yes, I want wonderful things for me, but not at the expense of anything else. I believe that we all deserve wonderful things. And I wouldn't step over a baby's head. Or better yet, or worse yet, I wouldn't step on a baby's head to get ahead. But I think there are many people who, if given the chance, would. I think the majority of us, when we begin to understand or come to learn these things, because we're so concerned with doing the right thing, because we care so much, unlike these people who don't care at all, we're so likely to doubt ourselves that we just keep spinning around in a circle, never accepting and believing what we see. We're constantly looking for more proof to confirm what we know in our hearts is already true. I think the only reason why I might be some kind of special hero is because I've stopped spinning around in circles. I just accept now what I believe. And this is the precipice of all of this, I could sit here and think, well, I've kind of rambled. I could go back and I could just rewrite this. And maybe, I would express myself better. But I don't believe at the end of the day that it's about perfectionism. I believe it's about what's in our heart and what we're trying to accomplish. What I'm trying to accomplish right now is to just have a dialogue with other people out there who might think similarly as I do, so we can try to have some common ground. But again, we have to understand that because these things all come, it could have to do with feelings, for example. When we think that we need drugs or alcohol, or, when we believe that our feelings are out of our own control, that's something so simple. I mean, through meditation and such, it's proven that one can gain essentially a mastery of their feelings by mastering themselves, and they can find inner peace and happiness and all of those things that probably should be taught in school, because if you can't do those things, how can you be a properly functioning member of society? You have to understand feelings, and feelings are just feelings, and we're afraid of them. Something so simple, and yet it's made to be so complex. And we're also, again, weak by people who try to make us believe that once your feelings control you, there's no way out, that there's something wrong with you. That's not the case. It's just the case that, much like you need to work out your muscles if you want to lift something that's very heavy, We simply need to work out our minds, our imagination, our self-control, our discipline. There are so many different labels and phrases of explaining what we're working on. Basically, we need to work on our inner self to gain a mastery over ourself. And we so rarely do this because it's like when you're working out, you're not going to see a lot of progress at first. It's going to take a lot of dedication and determination. And in fact, I would say more dedication and determination than it does to do physical work. It's relatively easy to push yourself physically because eventually you're going to see results. But when it comes to your inner self, you're going to feel results, but you're not actually going to not only appreciate those results, but be able to utilize those results once you accept them. Because I think that a lot of times, we'll take for granted, like, oh, I feel different today than yesterday, and I know that means something, but I'm not allowing it to have the full weight of what that really means. Again, I've made so many videos talking about these things in other, maybe more intelligent ways. Maybe it just seemed more intelligent. But if that was all there was, then those videos would have worked, and they would have worked for me. But I believe things happen for a reason. And I believe that this video is going to get an incredible response. I'm not even going to ask you to share this video. I just believe very deeply that this video is going to resonate with people. That what may seem like random rambling is actually like the communication from the film WALL-E, that intellectually it might not seem like much is being said, or it might not seem like it makes sense. But if you just listen and open your mind and your heart to go, all right, I understand what he's getting at. And it doesn't have to be in his words, because he's not sitting there going, you have to define and label these things the way I'm saying. He's just presenting ideas and trying to basically say, do you see what I see? And again, I really wish that there was someone better than me, because while I totally accept the responsibility and all that, I sit here wishing that there was someone better, because if they were better than me, they would have done this sooner and faster. But it feels like, while I'm not the only one who knows this information, that I am the only one who's going to be capable of getting it out there, getting it heard. And maybe that'll be in an indirect way. Maybe somebody else will hear this information, present it in a incredible way, and that will take off. And I don't need the credit for it, because I want to see a future where everyone is treated equally, where everyone is happy. And in that future, if somebody else got us there first, why would I be ungrateful for that? Because I'm going to have the exact same benefits, no matter if somebody else did it or if I did it. Because I want us to all share the same rights, the same quality of life. And I believe that that's what any good, decent person would be striving for. So that's why I've always said, it doesn't have to be me, because at the end of the day, if I actually was the reincarnation of Christ, if I actually was the hero that I've tried to desperately point out that I've been told that I am, and that, I can help you, and I just needed a little bit of your help, but at the end of the day, we could have all done this together sooner. Maybe somebody better could have came and done it sooner, but this is the timeline we're in. Like, this is history happening right now. So for whatever reason, this is just how the cookie crumbled. And what I am happiest about is simply that we're all going to live happily ever after. That's it. It'll be cool to be a hero. It would be cool to have power. It would be cool to be the King Arthur, the good king, the fatherly, heroic god. Like, just however you want to put that, the benevolent, just the opposite of a dictator, the liberator, that would be wonderful. I would love that. I think we all would. Not me doing it, but I think we would all love to be in that position. But I'm also the one who's sat here and just, no matter the lack of results, refuse to give up, and I keep, no matter how painful or difficult it may be, and it was painful and difficult at a time, because I was really waiting and counting on other people hearing the information and us all being able to confirm it and believe it together. But then how would that be an Easter egg? How would that, if that was the case, it would have already happened. I think there's a lot of us who hopefully believe in these things. And I don't mean just like, I hope you believe in these things, but I mean we hopefully believe in these things, but while still doubting them. I'm the first one who's telling you, I'm hopping on board the crazy train. Like, I am believing in the most absurd, insane, and outrageous shit. And it has taken this long, and you can see it all play out on this channel. I've got a lot of videos that really show definite evolution, but if you want to see the full, unedited, unbridled truth, that just some videos that YouTube would not allow me to leave up, you can see that on Odyssey. Like, I am completely honest and upfront, 100%. Like, the nitty-gritty details are all there for everyone to see, because I believe in being totally honest. And I would have at one point said, and you can judge me, but it's not for you to judge me. It's for me to sit here and to realize I know myself. I know that I've made mistakes, but I also know my heart, my intentions, and my nature, and I know that those things are all good. Just like I can say that I know that the majority of us are all good, especially those of us without power. It does seem to me that the limited number of bad people might be the ones with power, or perhaps maybe it's only just a select few and the rest are all being used. But at the end of the day, it isn't about really blaming anyone, because we could go to war, we could blame, and we could hate and think that might achieve progress. But if that was going to achieve progress, it already would have. So I think we need to realize that it is simply by believing in each other, by supporting each other, that we will see true progress. It is also, most importantly, by believing in ourselves, because if you cannot love yourself, you can't love somebody else. If you're doubting yourself, then you're going to doubt somebody else, because you don't understand yourself. And if you don't understand yourself, then you're not going to be able to understand somebody else. If you're living in fear, then you're not going to be very diplomatic. And that's just how it is. And that's not to say there's anything wrong with that. That's not to put the blame on you or to say that you need to do better. If you want to do better, then you should try to do better, because that's something you want to do. And we should always, try to climb the mountain if we wish to. Regardless of all that, what I'm happiest also that I can tell you today is that your spiritual beliefs are correct. Now, no matter what you subscribe to, no matter if you're a Harry Potter fan, a Star Wars fan, a Marvel fan, a DC fan, a Christian, or a person of the Jewish faith, the simple fact is, we're all correct, and we're all just looking at it in our own unique ways, which means that we're all same but different, and that's magical in of itself. And it truly means that the future is limitless, because we don't even, there's so many unknowns, there's so much that we're going to learn. We all sit around gravity will never be proven wrong, but it's not that things are really proven wrong and that it invalidates it, but it's more like, it's not about invalidating knowledge, it's about expanding knowledge. You have to have that foundation. You have to be at point A to get to point B. Simple as that. And I think too often we look around the world and we think it is always been there this way, but it didn't, It just, we know that, we're taught that, but we don't really feel that. Because if we did, we would understand that, look at the progress we made, look at the technology we have. How can anyone tell you that something's impossible? Every single reality today at one point was said to be impossible. If we spent less time telling somebody that a pursuit was unworthy and more time helping them with that pursuit, we would quickly realize that there is no impossibility. The only reason that impossibility even exists is because somehow, someway, somebody out there fucking wants it to. Somebody wants to tell you that progress isn't possible, that thing can't happen, but it totally fucking can. So why are we being led astray? Well, that's proof of an evil force. The mere fact that I'm the one sitting here explaining this to you is proof of that, because I'm the hero, and then that means that there has to be a villain out there. Because a hero only exists to respond to a villain. The villain always comes first, for whatever reason. I guess it's because if there was a hero around, someone would have saved that innocent but weak person, and they wouldn't have become a villain. I mean, that's what a lot of stories teach us, isn't it? That, no one's born a villain, they become that way. Well, that also means that being a villain is kind of a weakness in of itself, because if you could be the hero that you needed, if you could do what no one did for you, who knows what the world would accomplish? Who knows what you could accomplish? And I know that the world will finally accomplish truly miraculous, wonderful, proving that impossibility is truly impossible. Shit will happen. And it's gonna happen because of this video, and I believe that. And it's gonna happen because I am doing my best to will this brightest future into existence for all of us. And I can't see a better pursuit of one's energy or time than that. I've been granted a lot of fortunes and a lot of blessings and a lot of luck, and I simply wish to do the best that I can with those things. And I think the best thing that anyone could do is to try to help everyone, because why not? What reason is there to not create a future where everyone is equal? The only reason why that future doesn't exist now is because there are those who do not want you to be their equal, because they want you to be underneath them so they can feel like they're above you, so they can feel like they're special, because they look at it as if everyone being special somehow dilutes being special. But why we're special is because we're all unique. So we're all special fuckers in our own special, unique fucking ways. No one will ever be you, even if you're living the exact same life as somebody else. Like, there's always going to be that nuance. But it's only when people want to play at being a Greek god, in other words, to oppress others, to just sit there and get off on the fact that you could help someone, but you're not going to. And it's that power that pleases you. Like, wow, that's some kind of fucked up. I try not to be too judgmental, but I think that's kind of evil. I think it is evil. Does it mean that I think that you deserve to die or be punished for all time? No. But I also look at it kind of like being a rabid dog. If you're not gonna, you're gonna hurt somebody at the end of the day. It's... Oof. I think we'd probably be able to help all of those rabid dogs if we were being allowed to. But the rabidest of the rabid dogs just is not allowing that to happen. And yet, how can that be? Simply as everything that I've said already in this video. So, welcome to the great, big, beautiful tomorrow, because it's all been said. Thank you for your time.